Welcome to Arkansas Music Showcase. We are Scott and
Amanda Elliott. This is the podcast where we dive deep into the heart of Arkansas's vibrant music scene.
Welcome to the show and enjoy the ride. Are you dreaming of building something from the ground up? Look no further than J.R. Shellnut Construction, your one-stop shop for all your construction needs. From dirt to concrete and all the way to erecting your dream building, J.R. Shellnut Construction, LLC has got you covered. We're not just builders, we're your partner in creating spaces that last. But what sets us apart? We're a faith-based company where integrity, quality, and community are at the heart of everything we do. With J.R. Shellnut Construction, you're not just getting a contractor, you're gaining a team that believes in the power of faith and hard work. So whether it's a new home, a commercial space, or something entirely unique, J.R. Shellnut Construction LLC is ready to take your project from vision to reality. Call us today or visit our website to get started. Let's build something beautiful together. J.R. Shellnut Construction LLC, building more than just structures, building trust and community.
Charles Haymes is the Arkansas Country Music Awards Vice President, where he heads up artist relations and eligibility. Haymes is a graduate of ASU-BB and is a country music columnist and historian with 2 nominations from the International Bluegrass Music Association for Print Media Person of the Year. Haymes co-hosts the annual awards event, Arkansas Country Music Awards. We're going to talk about that a lot today, which he helped shape from its inception more than 7 years ago. He most recently celebrated 30 years in the music business as a journalist and a music historian with a varied career from interviews with industry giants to his column Music Beat, and later as a panelist for the selection of CMT's 100 Greatest Songs of Country Music. He's also a contributing writer for Bluegrass Now magazine, and more recently, he was one of the regular personalities on Arkansas PBS's Talkin' Country, a local companion show to the Ken Burns documentary Country Music. Welcome to Arkansas Music Showcase.
Hey, Hayes, welcome, man. Yeah, hey, woo! Finally got here.
Yeah.
It's been some time in the making. Also would like to welcome my new co-host, Amanda Elliott, to the show. Yes, so glad.
She's a lot prettier than you are.
Well, I figured that, the ratings might go up a little bit if I would bring her on board, for all those that. Man, welcome. Nice to meet you finally in person. Today's the first day we've got to meet in person.
Yeah,
we
we've
have
talked
talked
a
a
few
lot.
times.
Yeah, we have talked. Yeah, whole bunch. Appreciate all your help and your support and everything you do for everybody.
You're kind, but I thank you for promoting this and having me on here.
Man, there's not a person that I've spoke with that didn't have a really kind or good thing to say about you, Charles. It was really cool. You do a lot for this community, and it's, people need to respect it, and I know that they do. And I just wanted to say that coming out first. Okay, as soon as I recorded my album, you were right on it. You're like, okay, this is helpful. Anything I can do to be information wise, you were right there, and that was great. And every time I've ever called or text, you've always answered, and I really appreciate that. That's a big deal to me.
Well, I'll keep doing that.
Yeah, man. It means a lot. It means the world. It means the world to her too. This is a new journey for us. And
Yeah.
so, we'll get right into it. It's not about us, but I did want to say that, give you an appropriate thank you right off the bat.
Oh, yeah. You're kind. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. So I'll let Amanda ask the first question. Let's get right into the Arkansas Country Music Awards, and you're the VP of that. So we're going to get right into that. We want to talk about the details of it, how it came about, and all the inner workings that we can. So we got all the time that we want to take today. So, let's just start with, what do we want to start with? Well,
I would love to talk to you about what it looked like in 2017, what the music scene kind of looked like for country music at that time, because you were obviously very involved in it. You've had a 30-year career. So 2017, you were deep in your music writing, historian, all those types of things. So kind of, can you paint a picture for us of what the scene kind of was as the conversation started to happen for creating these awards? Why, if there was a void that you guys were trying to fill, or what did it look like to create these awards, and what the environment was like at that time for country music in Arkansas?
There was definitely a void. Believe it or not, they had never been Arkansas Country Music Awards, or Arkansas Country Music Hall of Fame, and honoring legends, and then the awards for the independent artist recording today. So there was definitely a void. A gentleman named Nathan Honeycutt, he's the president. And he graduated high school in a small White County town, Rosebud, and he went to college in White County also at Harding. And he had put together award shows in other states. He had done like the East Texas Music Awards and Tennessee Music Awards, but they were just what that says, music awards, where he would have pop artist of the year, bluegrass artist of the year, country artist of the year, an album and song of the year. It would be all mixed of the genres. He didn't focus in on one genre. And when he wanted to do something in Arkansas, and he felt country was the way to go.
Yeah.
And it allows you to branch off into things that influence country, Americana, bluegrass, the gospel, which we call inspirational. Mm-hmm. And so there'd been some posts, and I'd had some messages from some of my music friends, because I know a lot of music people in Arkansas, and I started getting some messages from some people in November, December of 2017. And they said, "Hey, do you know there's an award show starting?" And I said, "Really?" And so I sent a message to the Facebook page for the awards. Yeah. Now I'm one of the administrators for it. Isn't that wild how that works? Yeah, and I sent that, and he responded pretty quickly and said he would like to visit with me. And we visited, and he told me some of the issues he'd ran into in previous award shows, that he did not want to have those issues in this one. And he knew from the very beginning is the time to get all of that stuff laid out. And his previous award shows were kind of more of a people's choice thing and not really critically acclaimed. And he wanted it to be more critically acclaimed, which is the way award show should be. When you hear the word award, just for the industry, right. And the people creating the arts, writing the songs and such. So we hammered away on categories and eligibility and criteria and eligibility period. And we use a 2-year eligibility period, which, you would kind of think of the national award shows use a 1 year. But, we're talking about one state here, and it's expensive for independent artists to record. So we use a 2-year period. That seems to work extremely well. And
which I'm super grateful for, by the way.
Yeah, I think that's
one more shot, baby. One more shot.
This year's award show is based on recordings from January 22nd, 2023 to January 21st, 2025.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And those dates are the same. They just move up a year,
Yeah.
That's great.
Gotcha.
And we got all of that laid out, and they started the submissions for nominations, runs, and we can get into all that stuff, but it runs there in January, and, and there's a process for that I know we're going to talk about. But that's really how it got started. There was a definite void. And when you think about that, and, when we go into that first award show, 2018, well, this hasn't happened before. So we get to honor Johnny Cash and Glenn Campbell.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that led to Tanya Tucker coming, and we were also honoring Ed Bruce that year. Boy, Ed Bruce wrote, Texas When I Die. When I die, I may not go to heaven. Yeah. So Tanya did it, and all these dots connected early on.
That's awesome.
And Colin Ray, who's going in the Arkansas Country Music Hall of Fame, a Lifetime Achievement Award this year, he and I co-hosted the first award show over at UALR in Little Rock. And that place, was in their theater, and I think it held about 650, and I think we probably had 700 people there. So
that's awesome.
I mean, you couldn't get around sideways in that place, and I knew we were on to something. I knew that the first year, I knew the potential was there, and it's just gone from there, and we've seen how these categories have blossomed, and more and more artists are recording, and I think the awards probably has a lot to do with that.
What do you expect the attendance to be this year?
I think we will probably be between 900 and 1,000.
That's great.
Yeah, that's pretty consistent on what we have. If every seat in the house was $30, we'd fill it up, but it's not. It's not that type of event. It's a VIP event. Right. And the seats down on the floor, the VIP seats, are definitely more expensive, but you get a lot of bang for your buck. But at the same time, we also have some, very affordable general admission tickets. There's something for everybody.
Yeah. How much are general admission tickets?
They're in the balcony, and the first 3 rows of the balcony are $40, and the rest of the balcony is $30. And the $40 are getting close to being gone, I believe.
Great. Yeah. So for $30 a piece, you can come out and check out the award show.
Oh yeah, those are still good seats up there.
Yeah, great.
That's a nice venue. It's really nice.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, just because that came up, I just wanted to touch on that real fast.
Sure.
So, year 1, year 2, year 3 goes by. People are showing up and giving you the help that the award show needs. It's been set up the right way. It's being approached in a different way than others have around the country that it's compared to. So you're taking a different look at it. And so you're 3-4 years in. How are things going?
Year 3 was a mess. It was 2020.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense.
We had our process, January 1st through 21st. I'm sure this is on your list of questions, but that's the submissions. And then when that ends, we have this, we have a special awards committee, and they select the final 5. And, there's a process for all that. Well, we announced the nominees in mid-February, and the show's I believe that year was going to be June 1st, 2020. And boy, everything changed, And by April, we had to make the decision to move the show to August. Well, as we got closer to that wasn't going to work either. But we carried on. The show continued. We filmed a show that was shown locally, an hour on television, and we did about 8 or 10 of the categories on. We filmed them there for TV, and then the rest of them about halfway through the show, it comes up there, and we like to congratulate, and it put all those up on the screen who won those categories. And we had some performances that were recorded in the studio in Nashville. So the performances, we would introduce the artists, Ashton Gill and I, who I'm co-hosting with again this year, we would introduce the artists, and we're in a little studio in Conway, and the performers are in Nashville, and they were all recorded at various times, and they put all that together.
Yeah. Yeah, so you could have a show, and it just had to be broadcast.
Yeah, we
have an audience,
and we didn't miss a beat on eligibility or any of that. Then come 21, we roll in with the 4th one. 21, we made the move to Conway, and that's been really good.
Yeah, it's been a great venue for you guys. Well, so this will be year 3 or 4 in Conway. 4.
This will be year 5 in Conway.
Year 5 in Conway.
Yeah,
got it.
Yep.
Yeah, this seems to be the right move. It's centralized. It's a bigger location. There's plenty of parking, it's college campus. And
really nice backstage and all the female artists like that.
I'm excited.
Yeah, there's a nice area back there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that for sure. Well, so let's talk about some of the details. What do you think?
About eligibility?
Sure.
Who's eligible? How much do you have to live or perform in Arkansas to be considered? Because I know a lot of people, are kind of either one or the other. They're based here, they're traveling a whole lot, or maybe they're not necessarily an Arkansas musician, but they have lived here, or they perform here a lot. How do you qualify? Who qualifies to be at the Arkansas Country Music Awards?
The first thing, the slam dunk is if you're born here. And you can live wherever now.
Okay.
But being born here that's pretty obvious.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then, live here for ample period of time or currently live here. And, we have a lot of that. People born in other states but they live here now and probably lived here, more than they have anywhere else, but they just weren't born here.
Consider themselves an Arkansas.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And with every aspect of this, we cast a wide net. Americana and bluegrass, they all fall in, be eligible for the various categories. We cast a wide net at every turn, and eligibility is that way too. It's not so loose that, someone who's never lived here or some other state is eligible. It's not that. But, if you're born here or perform here for ample period of time or currently live here. And of course, the regular categories are for the independent recording artists. So, if someone is currently on a major label, they wouldn't be eligible. Or if somebody at some point was on a major label, and while they had a top 10 single on the primary Billboard singles country charts. And there's categories. I mean, we have the Hall of Fame for the people that's been successful, and if you're a past nominee or recipient and you get signed to a label, since the inception of the awards, we have a Momentum Award. And last year that went to Mae Estes. She's doing great things now. She's a 3-time female vocalist of the year here, and she's now on Big Machine Records. And then you could go 3 or 4 years and not have that, or however long. In this case, we have that award 2 years in a row. J.D. Clayton, who's now signed with Rounder Records.
Gotcha.
He's receiving the Momentum Award this year.
Cool.
He's a 2-time Americana Artist of the Year.
Awesome. So how does the nominating process work? Nominating and picking. How do you pick who wins? That's what we want to know. How do you pick?
My favorite question to answer. January 1st through January 21st, which is the first 3 weeks of the year, is submissions for nominations. And boy, do we have a lot of those. And of course, how
many do you get?
Like thousands and thousands?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
10,000?
No, it's not that many.
Gotcha. So under 10,000.
Yeah, but it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Man,
it's a lot to go through.
Yeah, it certainly is. But we keep files all throughout the year. When Arkansas artists release music, okay, this would be eligible for Song of the Year. This is eligible for Album of the Year. They're going to be eligible for Vocal Duo Group of the Year. This one's eligible for Male Vocalist of the Year. That makes checking validity so much easier come January 22nd.
Because you immediately make a file.
Oh yeah,
Every artist,
music usually comes out on Fridays and files are updated.
Nice.
Yeah. To go back to your question, okay, January 1st through 21st submissions. And then when that ends, you check validity. The ones that are submitted in the categories in which they meet the criteria and are eligible, then they move to the Special Awards Selection Committee. And that is an anonymous committee of music professionals. And a percentage comes off each year and a different percentage comes on. And I'm here to tell you there's some Cracker Jacks that's on that and have been through the years.
Awesome.
I mean, and we get a mixture on the committee. You'll have like a touring musician that may tour with some nationally known artist, a singer-songwriter, a producer, a journalist who interviews the artist, and which that's my background. So it's always good to have someone of that nature on there. Disc jockey. We have a wide range of people that are on there.
Yeah, you try to vary the committee so you get
very much so. One committee person does not know who another committee person is. They may know them, but they do not know they're on the committee.
So everyone's independent. There's no collaborative,
absolutely not,
conversation.
Absolutely not. They don't sit around the table and discuss it all. They're email ballots. Ballots are put together. The categories are sent out individually, and you have all the links you need for that. Like a Vocal Duo Group of the Year, they'll have all of them listed. Then they'll be listed again with the links of their recorded output during the period. Each category pretty much works the same way. They will listen to those and they email back who they feel their top 5 should be. Those are tally, and the 5 that receive most becomes the final 5 nominees. And those are announced in mid-February, and that's always an exciting day.
It is, yeah.
So then is there a secondary process to choose the final winner?
Absolutely.
It's not just whoever got the most at that first initial top 5? Okay.
Not at all. Ballots go back out, final ballots to the selection committee, and they make their choice. They each have a final vote. And then from March 1st to March 14th, if you recall, there's a 2-week online fan voting. Mm-hmm. And you go in there, you open up a ballot, there's all the categories with the final 5 per category. The one that receives the most per category from the fans counts as one committee person's vote.
That's awesome.
That gives the fans 1 seat on the committee.
Nice.
So it's a critically acclaimed award show with some fan involvement.
That's a great idea.
You have a say.
Yeah.
Fans do have a say.
They do.
Yeah.
But it's not a big popularity contest.
No.
Nor would you want it to be.
No.
Because it's a professional award show.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the things I had wondered about, and you mentioned it earlier, was the award shows, this award show isn't just a reflection of what's happening in country music, but it feels like there's an intention to shape or create opportunity for country music. Would you say that that's accurate?
Yeah, from the standpoint that there's so much diversity.
Right.
Yeah, and boy, we've got 62 first-time nominees this year. And we've consistently had 50 or more nominees for first-time nominees, like, for 5 years now. And we're seeing more and more first-time recipients. We'll find out here soon how that's gonna work out this time.
Yep.
But, I mean, it just continues to grow. And another thing, like we're talking about, they send ballots out for the categories. For the first few years, like Video of the Year, you'd have 12 or 15, and they'd pick the 5 from. Well, that's 35 or near 40 now.
Wow.
Most of these categories are that way.
Wow.
25 to 40 is pretty common in these categories now.
More and more people stepping out and
yeah.
writing, and it's growing. The scene, people in the scene is growing.
It is. Yep. And it's always a good show. I mean, there's just, we honor the legends, and we have Arkansas Honors Arkansas. That's a special award. This is the 3rd year for it to be presented, and it's an annual award. And then we have all these categories. We pack a lot in near 3 hours.
So about how many performances happen live every year?
There's going to be 16 this year.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes.
How are those people chosen?
Another great question. Entertainer of the Year always get asked. And so far, every year, the 5 Entertainer of the Year finalists have been right there to perform. And then, sometimes you'll have people that'll get 3 or 4 nominations and had a really good year, but they're just not up for Entertainer of the Year. But they've had a good year, throughout. So generally, whoever has the most nominations that is not up for Entertainer of the Year, that's pretty much an automatic spot. And this year we had 2, tied for that spot, so to speak, if you want to say that, with 4 nominations but not up for Entertainer. That's Americana artist Waylon Wyatt, who just graduated high school last week.
He's young, yeah.
18 years old.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And Sillamore Special, who's become an awards favorite the last few years. And so you got the 5 entertainer, and those 2, that made 7. And then, you got your Hall of Fame inductions, and you get to try to, get guests in them. In this case, 2 of them are going to be there performing, 2 of the inductees this year, Sean Kemp and Colin Ray. And then we get ones to honor those. And then you just see what's left, how many spots you got left, what would make for a good mix for the show.
Yeah.
And, and you just put that together, and boy, there's going to be some good performances this year.
Yeah, there is. It's exciting.
Are there any of the categories that have really grown since the inception of the awards in particular? Or has everybody kind of had a groundswell? Everybody's kind of grown, or are there some certain specific genres that are like really gaining momentum?
Yeah. Americana has blown up. Bluegrass seems to kind of stay about the same, but we always end up with a good final 5. It's certainly good.
Yeah.
But yeah, Americana has blown up. Vocal duo group would be the one that led us to, we had 26 categories up until last year, and we added a 27th, and that's the only time we've added a category. And for the first 6 years of the award show, see, if you had, say, a male and a female that was a collaboration that got together, they were thrown in the mix with the regular duos and groups, because, we might have 4 to 6 of those or whatever. But we started seeing that increase, these collaborations. So we started watching that, and it got there to about 8 or 10 or 12 one year. And we said, we had executive meeting in the off season, if you will, in between award shows, and let's keep watching this. And, and all of a sudden that thing jumped, about doubled. And, I think they had 27 they considered a music collaboration last year, and this year 30. Those have been pulled out. Duo group is just the regular duos and groups. Right. And collaboration, can be, well, it doesn't have to be 2 people. It can be 3, 5, whatever, you know. But so in that category has really become a popular one. Of course, male and female vocalists are growing. Song, if anybody has anything at all, they have one song.
Right.
So that's the deepest.
Yeah.
That's the deepest. And of course, video keeps growing. Album, all categories are growing. They are, some more than others, of course, because there's a lot of categories.
Correct.
But boy, there's a lot of growth in this thing, and a lot of diversity, a lot of different styles being considered in the same category.
Yeah.
committee has a tough job, but they do a good job.
Yeah, they do a great job.
They do.
I mean, I thought all the selections, I mean, everything's just spot on. Just the people that are everything. As soon as I got into the scene and started just really diving deep in, and then here's my first award show to be involved in, and it's like, yeah, I mean, every single person on there, every single venue, it just seems like it's right. Pretty good.
Yeah, venue is one of the what's called non-performing categories. Publication, blog, podcast, promoter, venue, radio station, and radio DJ. And those 5 categories, and just those 5, have a special rule where you can't have the same recipient back to back.
That's cool.
Yeah, you could essentially win it every other year, I suppose.
Yeah.
But the recipient of that does not return. Those are non-performing categories. And then young artists of the year, that's viewed kind of like new artists. If you win young artists, then you don't return back in that category.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Your youngness is over.
Yeah,
You now are seasoned.
yeah. Last year's recipient was Sophie and the New Relics, and they're doing great things now, and they're going to perform on the show this year, even though they don't have a nomination this year, but they're going to perform on the show, and then after their performance, they're going to turn around and present young artists
That's cool.
for this year.
Cool. Yeah,
So who does all of the presenting? How do you guys decide who does presenting?
The co-host, Ashton and I, we will present most categories simply because there's a lot of categories. And if you start make welcome to the stage, presenting this category, so and so and so, we'll be there 4.5 hours,
Correct.
And she and I will present most categories, but we're not presenting every category.
Okay.
But we're presenting most categories.
Yeah. For time's sake, right?
Oh, primarily, yeah.
Yeah.
And we enjoy doing it too, It's
of
fun reading off the nominees in,
Yeah.
opening the envelope.
Yeah. Being the first person to see it.
Oh, it is, yeah.
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 They're getting to say it out loud and watching the reaction.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
When do you find out who the winners are?
That
Do you already know? You find out that night?
we found out that night.
So you have to have do you have a good poker face? Like, do you try not to look surprised sometimes? Or, I mean, that would be hard. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Sometimes it would be hard. That's a lot.
I think I'm pretty good at
that's a lot of categories and a lot of people.
I've been told I'm really good at it. But
I mean, you've been in, on the side of music, of really analyzing music and being a journalist. So you probably have sometimes kind of a read on who you think is going to win. Just kind of, a gut kind of intuition. Maybe.
Oh, sure. And, and I visit with people throughout the year. I mean, I don't pick the nominees or the recipients.
No, but just from you being who you are and your involvement in the industry, you can see a front runner probably coming from a mile away.
Oh, that could very well be true. I mean, you talk about how Waylon White has 4 nominations this year at age 18. I mean, that's really unusual to be up for young artist of the year and be, in that many other categories.
Nominated for the other categories.
Yeah, and when I look at the award show and I look back, who had the most nominations each time, and that has really it changes a lot. Like this year, Cliff and Susan has the most nominations. Well, they've had nominations before, but this is the first time they've had the most.
Right.
And that just seems like that keeps changing. Most years. Yeah.
That's a good thing. That means that the industry is healthy.
And the eligibility periods are key. I mean, it's based on these categories are a snapshot because each one says of the year. These categories are not of the last 5 years or 10 years. They're of the year. And in our case, we use a 2-year eligibility period.
Yeah.
But that's what it's based on. We have career achievement categories, for other things,
Correct. I like it.
The non-performing awards. Is that something that is pretty common at other kind of state level awards and things like that? To me, that seems really special. Like that seems like something that would really be helpful towards, bringing exposure to the very people that are kind of helping to support and move things in a good direction for musicians. So how did you guys decide to do that? Or is it it may be a common saying? I don't know.
I don't know that it's real common, no, but it's not. It's not unheard of either. I've been fortunate to have, you mentioned earlier, I've had 2 nominations from the International Bluegrass Music Association. Well, they always have a disc jockey of the year and a Print Media Person of the Year that I was a finalist for twice. And they have, Bluegrass Festival of the Year instead of Venue of the Year. And
Cool.
and there's been, some national awards it's had, Venue of the Year or Club of the Year and things like that, But you're not going to find that at every awards. But we, at no time have we tried to copy or mimic any other award show.
Yeah.
awesome.
We just kind of, went with categories that seem to work or fit. Now, we've tweaked a little bit here and there, but like I said earlier, we've only added one since this thing started.
That's good. Y'all really thought it out. If you only had that one over this time, you really.
Oh, yeah, we thought it out. We knew that before we ever had the first award show, that's when you need to get a lot of details. And when you get those lined out, you don't waver or change from that.
Yeah. Stick with what you.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's good. It's great. So, what's exciting, the most exciting about this year's show? What you're most excited about? Something that's new, different, or something that's changed? That's something you've been looking forward to?
I'm excited for a lot of things, but I'm going to start with two of the Lifetime Achievement recipients. Two of them are living and going to be there. Sean Kemp has been really good to come back and honor people and help us. He's a tremendous songwriter, and he's going in the Hall of Fame as a songwriter. This year we got a performer, a songwriter, and a musician. I'm excited to see Sean get honored. He becomes the youngest one to ever receive this, and he's dabbed in country and bluegrass and Americana, and he can do it all well. And he's wore a lot of hats: songwriter, performer, musician, producer. Won a Grammy as a producer for a Guy Clark album. But what he's probably most noted for, would be as a writer, Two Pina Coladas for Garth Brooks and How Long Gone. He just wrote a lot of these different songs. That was Brooks and Dunn. And of course, he had a big, just big hits for so many different artists. Would You Go With Me, Josh Turner, and he's one of those guys that is so talented, but yet he lives within those parentheses as a songwriter. And we've honored great songwriters, in the past year too. Kai Fleming, Waylon Holyfield, Wood Newton, Randy Goodrum. But I'm really happy for that. And I'm really pleased that Colin Ray, who I mentioned earlier, he and I co-hosted the first award show. He's had so much success back in the 90s. You couldn't listen to country radio in the 90s without hearing Colin Ray.
Right.
And he, he's going to be there, and he's receiving this. And then the other one being honored posthumous is John Huey from Elaine, Arkansas. Great steel guitar player for almost 20 years with Conway Twitty on tour and on record. And then a year and a half with Loretta Lynn and 12 years with Ben Skill.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I'm excited about more than just, so I'm excited about the whole show. I'm excited about a lot of these nominees that are performing on the show. I'm excited for all those 62 first-time nominees.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, it's exciting time. This means a lot to people.
It does.
It does.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It does. It's exciting.
And people congratulate one another. I've been asked before. They say, "Oh, it's June." The people get mad at this and that. No, they don't. When you get down to these final five, these people are pretty professional.
Well, what I've found so far is that the community is pretty supportive of each other. As much as you can be, as much time as it takes to concentrate on what you're doing and the stuff that individually as an artist you have to do. So most people help where they can, and they support, just liking posts and making comments and sharing things and helping people get gigs. And just the community is pretty. I think it's getting tighter, and it's just from what I've experienced so far. And then it's just, I think that as it continues to grow, that should be the theme is, hey, we're here. Everybody's here to help everybody. We want to grow this thing. We want more people to create, and we want more people to be available to play and, to do things across the state, and just continue to be more musicians, more music created, to create more legacies. So you have more lifetime people that you get to honor 25 years down the road.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's really cool that the first thing you said that you're excited about is the lifetime achievement stuff. That's the honor. That's the respect that,
oh, yeah.
That's what everybody works for. Like, this is my life's work.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the most important thing. You're creating, you got people here that they're 18 and they're just getting started, and knocking the doors down, and then you've got a guy here who's been doing it for 35 years or whatever.
And you're going to see both of those.
You're
You're
gonna
talking
see
about
both of them.
Waylon White's performing on
That's
the
what I'm
show.
talking about.
Yeah.
Talk about
so
him,
we
yeah.
Colin Ray.
So you got the beginning of it all, Arkansas known musicians, which that line goes way back. You know, so like I said, you honored Johnny Cash and others in the first show. You know, and then you get the chance to watch others develop from the beginning of their career as a young person or the beginning of their career as a middle-aged person. You know, and watch them some rise and fall, some don't rise at all, some, you know, just like the whole thing. But to respect and love and honor the person that's done it the longest and has had the most success, and that being the most important thing, it's to also showing the same love and support to the person that's getting started. You know, say, hey, you were here and now your goal is to get here. You know?
And we've had a little bit of all of this. So you pointed out something there, you know, some rise, some fall. We've, and you know, I don't have the exact number in my head, but obviously with each year it's going down a little. They are a handful of people that has had at least one nomination every year. But, you know, each year it's getting to be a smaller number now.
Wow.
And then you've also had some of those, you know, that won some big awards maybe along the way, and then life happens, and you know, you go 3 or 4 years where they're not in the mix, and then they may come back and they may not. But.
Yeah. Well, now I've seen somebody withdrew themselves completely from, so that I guess was because of just wanting other people to be able to win. You know, like I don't know why the reasoning was, but like, hey, give somebody else a chance, you know? Like, I don't know if that was the reason, but it kind of was. Wake felt as a red to me, you know?
Yeah, this individual had won a lot of awards in the history of the show and not going to be able to attend this year. And so they withdrew themselves in any category that they would be a solo nominee. Obviously, they couldn't do that in collaboration, or if it was a song considered, they had a co-writer. There was other people's involved, but they withdrew themselves.
I found a lot of respect for that, you know?
Yep.
I thought that was really, really honorable thing to do. If you're absolutely just out here just killing it, you know, and you can't be there, and, you know, it's like, that's a really honorable thing to do. I mean, you don't get a lot of that, you know? There's not a lot of people in the world that would do that, you know, in my opinion, you know? So it's respectable.
And, you know, almost every nominee attends. It's a high percentage. And the recipients that are there each year, I mean, it's a high percentage.
Yeah. I mean, I've only heard of a couple people that can't be there because they have a show or something, you know.
Right. Being a Monday night helps, but.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's the first thing that we talked about was, why is it Monday? Well, everybody's playing on the weekend.
Oh, sure.
That makes complete sense for it to be on Monday, because Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday can get busy. The only really day as a musician, as an artist, that you can have like real time is a Monday.
Yep, first Monday in June. We've stayed consistent.
Yeah.
We're always exactly 1 week after Memorial Day.
Which is perfect.
That's perfect. It's like a standing
Yeah, it's perfect. So over the years, what's been some of your highlights or your favorite things that have happened? I know we talked about a lot of them already probably, but like what is...
Each year is special in its own way.
Yeah.
Yeah, the third year was tough. I hit on that earlier. Now, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, but it also created some... You know, it created some rigidity in y'all's, you know, it'll give you the backbone to move forward through anything, because I've been through this hard thing, you know.
Oh, we survived it, and come out of it well. But
yeah, real well.
The first year, Tanya Tucker and Colin Ray being there, and you know, just getting it started. There were some challenges the first year, though, no doubt. You know.
Yeah.
You know, getting a venue and, you know, I mean, well, you got to do everything, you know. We talk about how many first-time nominees we have this year. Well, the first year, everybody's first-time nominee.
Right.
So, you know, so you have a lot of challenges. But the second year, we honored songwriter Kai Fleming, and that stands out to me because, you know, she had wrote so many great, she's from Fort Smith and wrote so many great songs, you know, Barbara Mandrell's I Was Country When Country Wasn't Cool, and, you know, and Sylvia came and performed Nobody. And of course, you know, Kai Fleming was a co-writer on Ronnie Millsap's Smoky Mountain Rain, and just so many, you know. I mean, if I start naming them, I'm going to leave a bunch out. But Sylvia came and performed Nobody, and I remember the crowd was just singing right along. You know, that stuff stands out to me, those fun moments like that. And the fourth year, you know, the third year we did that TV awards like I talked about tape, but we didn't do the Lifetime Achievements we announced who they were going to be, the Hall of Fame, but we carried them over for the live show for the fourth year. So we actually honored 6 that we had 3 from 2020 and 3 from 21. And one of them from 2020 was LeBonham. And Amy came, and we had an all-star cast of known people as well as some of our Arkansas nominees all on stage at the same time, and they did The Wait, and that was a great performance.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we had Amy Helm and Bonnie Montgomery and young artists. Well, yeah, young artists. They were the recipient that year, Trip. And we had Mark Curry, and we had Sean Kemp, who's been honored this year, and they all did The Wait. That was a great performance. Billy Dean, country artist from the 90s, came that year because he honored Waylon Holyfield, who wrote Billy's first big hit, you know, Only Here for a Little While.
Yeah. Yeah. I can only imagine, you know, and I've been in some situations where you've worked hard for something and you've gone through all what it takes to get to this place, and then you're standing there and you look out across and all the musicians are performing and the whole crowd is singing and everybody's of one accord on hitting the same note, and it's just like, okay, that's what we did it all for right there, you know.
In 22, you ask about moments that stand out. 22 was a special one. We honored a great musician, the great piano player Floyd Kramer, and his grandson Jason Coleman came, and we had a Grand Ole Opry star Jeannie Seeley come also. And that same night, to honor Mark Wright, we had Leanne Womack. She performed A Little Past Little Rock and I Hope You Dance, and those are pretty memorable performances in the history of this show.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then in 23, we honored Albert E. Brumley. You know, he greatly influenced, you know, country from his gospel writing. You know, he wrote Turn Your Radio On and I'll Fly Away, which has been maybe the most recorded song.
Which we played today on our set.
Is that right?
Yeah, we still play.
Yeah, brought the Blackwood Brothers.
Yeah, that's it.
The Blackwood Brothers came. And, you know, that year we also honored, as a non-performer, a longtime manager from Hot Springs, Arkansas, Irby Mandrell, and everybody knows his daughters, Barbara Louise and Earlene. Louise came. And, you know, people say, oh, an award show, you know, isn't every year about the same? Well, it's not. You know, I mean, every year has its own identity.
Yeah, it seems like you get different pockets of legendary performers and known people. Then you get getting different nominees every year, so it can't be the same.
Linda Davis has came the last 2 years. You know, she was probably best known for a duet with Reba McEntire, Does He Love You? And she's the mother of, you know, of Hillary, the lead singer, Lady A, formerly known as Lady Annabella.
I know that.
Yeah, Linda came, and last year we had Grand Ole Opry star Mandy Barnett. Each year, you know, has its own special moments and special guests, and this year will be no exception to that. This year's going to be fun because 2 of the people being honored are going to be right there performing.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, it's great. It's you know, people out there listening and watching this podcast, you know, there's a lot to be had at the award show. There's a lot. You never know what's going to happen. You got to come to find out. It can go.
Well, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And there's always some surprises. And I'll tell you, these categories are tough.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get down to 5, and you know, I mean, there's some good artists that for whatever reason that particular year just didn't finish in the final 5.
Right.
Last year they might have had 3 nominations. Next year they may have 4.
Yeah.
But you know,
Next year I may have 0.
That happens.
I know that has to happen.
Oh, sure it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And so that's why you got the people have to really support their artists and get out there and vote and get them nominated and, you know, and take the time to support this award show. You know,
It's been a lot of fun. You know, people ask me, "Oh, do you ever get tired?" Well, of course I get tired. I'm a human, but I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah. All right, the state needed this.
Yeah, the state absolutely.
Oh yeah, it was way over.
I was super excited when I found out about it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, man, this is really cool. And you start digging deeper into it. I was like, man, I know hadn't been around forever, that I saw had been around for a short period of time, that I've never heard anything, like it before until.
I can't believe it's going to be the 8th one. I mean, time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you think country music in particular is important to Arkansas as a state, our identity as a state, just bringing industry in? I don't know if industry is the right word, but drawing eyes to the state of Arkansas, as well as creating opportunities for people from Arkansas. I mean, I think, Arkansas is known for a lot of things, and I think probably people associate, country music in Arkansas, at least somewhat. It isn't like, a surprising thing that a lot of country musicians come from Arkansas, but how do you think that's important for our state, like, as a whole?
Well, Johnny Cash is known all over the world.
Right.
In his boyhood home, you can go visit it now. Glenn Campbell, he's not far behind.
Right.
If you want to look at that, they're both so well known. Jim Ed Brown and the Browns, on the Grand Ole Opry for many years. Jim Ed was a major staple on the early days of country music on television, hosting shows. And, everybody, I remember when Alan Jackson did Papa Top, everybody said, "Oh, did you hear that new song by Alan Jackson?" Well, Jim Ed Brown had it in 1967. That's where Alan learned it from, and all of that stuff. But, I don't know how much, tourism and how much it comes in to help the economy. But, I like various genres of music. So, this is no slant against any genre of music. But I'd say country music might be the one you first think of with Arkansas.
Yeah, I would think so.
I think Johnny Cash and Glenn Campbell are major reasons for that. And then you move into people, even today, Ashley McBride, Justin Moore today. And then you go back in the 90s, Colin Ray and Tracy Lawrence. And start naming people, we're going to leave them out. We honored a groundbreaking female last year, KT Oslin from Crossit, Arkansas. Yeah. Country music is pretty important. Arkansas, and not just country. With Arkansas being in the Bible Belt, one of our popular categories every year is inspirational. People love their gospel music.
Yeah, they love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you take Mountain View, for example, a lot of the folk and bluegrass from there. Arkansas has a little something for everybody. Different pockets of the state kind of lend itself to different stylings. The Americana scene is really thriving in the northwest part of the state. So, there's Americana artists in other parts of the state, of course, but it's really thriving up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's doing well.
Oh, yeah. That is a very popular category.
Yeah. Doing well. You got... There's still a big cover band scene here in Arkansas. There's still a big rock and roll band scene here in Arkansas as well. Just music in general in Arkansas, I think, is doing well. But I think that there's nothing more popular than country. That's just country is, to me, feels like it's king. The
CMA Awards in Nashville started in 1967, and the second year of their award show, Glenn Campbell won Entertainer of the Year.
Wow.
The third year of their award show, Johnny Cash won Entertainer of the Year. That was 68 and 69. And then in 74, Charlie Rich won Entertainer of the Year. So Arkansas had 3 of the first 8.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's pretty rooted in.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty rooted in.
Yeah.
We're known for it, and we should always be known for it. It should be growing, and it should be awarded, and it should be recognized. And people here that work their tails off in the scene should get the recognition they deserve. Now from a word from our co-sponsor, Red's Tree Service. Hey there, Central Arkansas. Tired of that unsightly dead tree in your yard? You're not alone. Give us a shout for a free quote. We're your friendly, knowledgeable team, here to guide you on all things tree care. We're licensed, insured, and have been enhancing the beauty of your community since 1976. With decades of experience and the best equipment, no job is too big or small for us. And here's a special thanks to our veterans. Get 10% off any quote. Call us today at 501-516-4204 for pristine tree care that stood the test of time. Red's Tree Service. I think
And we do that.
that's what you do.
Yeah, and something I always tell people is being a final nominee, that's the honor. If you're the recipient of the category, then that's icing on the cake. But I mean, being listed, and announced as a nominee for that year, that's a huge honor.
Yeah.
And it's getting tougher and tougher.
Well, I really, I would consider it so. I think that everybody that has been nominated does consider it so. And I mean, we've interviewed here on this podcast a couple of people that are 3 people for sure, 4 or 5 people for sure. We've already been here that are nominated this year, and every single one of them are just like over the top about even the possibility before the nominations were happening. Then when they did, after speaking with them, they're all just super ecstatic, and then that's the focus during that time, January 1st to 21st. It is, that it's March comes around, everybody, that's the focus. That's where your push is at that point in time. You're gearing up for festival season, and you're getting ready for the awards.
People are following the scene now too, and that's been one of the things, and I should have mentioned that earlier when you asked me. That's one of the things that's been stand out to me. The first couple of years, people keeping up, okay, this is good. And we hit about that 3rd or 4th year, and now it is very common when somebody puts out a new record, somebody will message me, hey, did you hear so-and-so's new record? I bet that's going to be a strong consideration in Song of the Year. Did you hear that album by this artist? I bet it's going to get a good look. I mean, people are following, and people will send me messages, here's who I'm thinking is going to be the final 5 in female this year. I mean, I get messages like that.
Yeah.
People are keeping up with it.
Yeah. It's a thing to keep up with.
Oh, yeah.
It's
It essentially becomes like a fabric
Oh, yeah.
of the whole scene. It's just kind of a part of it, not just a bonus thing. And I think that has entirely to do with the integrity of how it was created, the integrity of how people are chosen, that it isn't just, people can go in and log in 682 times with different email addresses and get, that makes a tremendous difference in the staying power, because it means a lot to win it for 1 year. That means a lot.
And like that's right. And you brought out a good point there about the number. That submission process, if you're submitted from January 1st to 21st in a category you're eligible for, you move to the next level. You don't have to have 800 people submit you, or even 100, as long as you're submitted.
Right.
And then you move to the next step, and you just keep going from there. But
I think it's really cool because it gives an opportunity for people who all they have to stand on is the music, the quality of the music.
That's why
and they can stand on that alone and have an opportunity to win an award at this level. And it feels like so many other things related to music have so much more to do with things that aren't necessarily directly music, that have a lot more to do with, social media and influence and just things that are not songwriting, that are not performing, that are not music. So this feels like a really cool opportunity for people who truly have talent, who truly have put in the work to be on a really, diverse stage with a lot of different people. That was one of the other questions we had, was the diversity.
Boy, it's there. We've had it all along, but this year it really shows, you've got an Americana artist that has 4 nominations. That means they bled over into some of the overall categories. Same thing. There's a bluegrass artist that has 4 nominations, still a more special. They're in bluegrass artists, but they're also in vocal duo, group, song, and album.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Crossing over.
And we've always seen some of that. In the early years of the award show, we had a popular Americana female, Bonnie Montgomery. She was successful, won Entertainer of the Year 1 year in female vocalist. And we've always had some of that. But this year, I think we may have a wider range of diversity throughout. I mean, there's mainstream artists, and that's a great and wonderful thing. But some of these nominees aren't mainstream either,
Right.
There's a big umbrella.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, at this point in time, everybody I see, when everybody's independent, and everybody's, out there grinding it out.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's out there grinding it out. There's nobody that's just sitting back playing the fat shows. There's every person on this list is grinding it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about it. Paying their dues.
Yep. And boy, a lot of them have and still are.
For a long time. Some have been doing it for a long time. And, you know, a few names on here have been doing it for a real long time, and a few names on here haven't been doing it very long at all. And
all of those come together one night.
Together one night. That's the beauty of it for me. You know, I can't wait to see how people react to their expressions as they're walking up that red carpet. You know, like just the experience of getting out and just being honored in that way, and just the excitement of people being around and saying, "Hey, you're amazing. We love what you do. Your hard work has paid off." You know,
see all the new suits and dresses.
Fashion of it all. You know, and
what are you gonna wear?
I am going pretty traditional this year. I try to wear a different tie each year.
Okay.
Yeah, the one I'm wearing this year is called wine color. Yeah. So I got to wear it responsibly, I guess.
Wear it responsibly. Wear your wine color.
Last year it was like purple tie, but the package said lilac. So I go by what? Oh yeah, and this year wine. You know, instead of burgundy. It just sounds better.
Yeah. You keep it pretty tight with the suit. You know.
Yeah, I say pretty consistent.
You know, I'm all over the place. Yeah. I'm all over the place. So you think it's all right if we go ahead and tell the people our big announcement we've been waiting to tell folks?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to let you tell it if that's all right with me. If that's all right with you.
Well, sure. Arkansas Music Showcase is going to be interviewing people on the red carpet. And then after the award show, you're going to interview the recipients and just visit with people.
We're excited.
And just people example that are there.
Yeah, anybody's there. If they're there. I want to get some people that are attending and say, how you enjoyed the experience? What's going on with you? What have you experienced so far? Maybe grab.
And if they don't like it, edit that out.
Oh,
we will.
We'll delete you.
It's I had a terrible time, and I want my money back. They're not getting on the show.
Yeah, they're not getting their money back either. They don't have to come next year if they're not getting their money back.
That's right. I love it. Yeah, so this year, Amanda and I are going to be on the red carpet. We're going to be supported by the Creative Hub. Brian Tanasia will be there with us, doing the underground work, you know, putting it together, the engineering part and things. So we're excited about the opportunity, and thank you for that opportunity.
Oh, sure.
And we're going to make that a big part of our announcement, and on our thumbnail day, it'll be big news towards the end of the podcast, because it is big news for us. And I don't know, you know.
Well, for us too. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. It's I don't know. Has anybody done that before?
We had our own red carpet. The first 2 years, we've always had red carpet, of course, but the first 2 years, who I co-host with, Ashton Gill, she interviewed people on the red carpet. Interviewed Tanya Tucker and all those people. The first year, they would just line up and come through. In the second year, you know, Governor Asa Hutchinson came, and she interviewed him as well as other people. And then when, you know, things shifted with COVID, she and I did the TV one in 2020, and man, she's great to work with.
Yeah.
And I told Nathan, I said, I think we're going to consider her being the co-host. Yeah. And she and I have done it each year since. I talked to her today.
That's awesome.
So she came off the red carpet, and
she's been
a part of co-host.
Yeah, she's been a part of us from the very beginning.
So you hadn't really done a red carpet interview since she became a true co-host.
That's correct. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's right. She was Miss Arkansas 2014 and second runner-up in Miss America.
Oh, wow. Those are big shoes to fill.
Those are big.
It's been enough years.
She high heels and the promises. She makes me look good standing up there.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm bringing Amanda on board the podcast.
It was relatively audio, so that's not really.
Well, there's a lot of
video.
There is a lot of video. Well, you're very well spoken as well, so it helps me out tremendously. You know, Amanda's got a background in interviewing people. That's what she's always done. You know, newspapers, magazines, editor style stuff, and so it was and she's absolutely beautiful. So you know, it's the way. I think it's the way to go, and like I said, we're really excited about the opportunity. Number one, we've kept it under wraps until now.
Yeah.
This will get released next week, and it's going to be, you know, it's big news for us, and we're just ready to go and meet everybody and just see the excitement in their face, be excited for them, and just, you know.
You asked me, so what are you wearing?
I was thinking as cowboyish, westernish shirt I can possibly find.
All right.
Not too deep in the game, but just something that's really classy. And haven't decided if I'm going bald or matching hat. I got to find my boots. I've been looking for my boots, or I've got to buy myself another pair because I can't find my boots anymore.
You're not going to wear Jordans?
I always wear Jordans. I wear Jordans, a Western shirt, and a ball cap. That's my outfit. That's my thing. When I had the bike shop, it was a pair of Vans and a big old bright, jersey with the big old loud hat, riding a wheelie down Main Street. But now it's gotten kind of back to our roots. I've switched it up, kind of kept the streets movie a little bit with the Jordans, like I want to be the first country artist that has their own, Nike or whatever. There has a small sponsorship by Nike anywhere their Nikes on stage.
Say a big sponsorship, amazing.
A huge one would be great, but that's just far-fetched. So that's just been kind of been my thing. Ask Amanda what she's gonna wear.
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's a good answer. That was simple. What's simple?
I had people ask me a lot of what
what people wear?
Like the first time nominees always ask me that.
Yeah.
Well, people come every which way.
I mean, I've looked through the Facebook photos. I'm not.
Oh yeah,
we got fully when he said we were going. I was
Fully stocked.
scrolling.
And we have that for each year. We have that on there.
It's really helpful. I mean, I was looking at them and I'm like, you can literally wear anything. I mean, you have people in like really
a lot, very little. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some people that look like they're at at the CMAs. You have other people that are like, having like a summertime meal. I mean, it just like
I'm gonna share what's in a velour suit with a polo.
Which you would not. But I think that's really, really cool that you can come and
as you are.
Come as you are.
Be decent. Be decent.
I think that describes country music in a lot of ways.
Sure.
Come as you.
It does.
Yeah, it appeals to the common person.
It does, which I think is
Look
super
up.
cool.
Yeah.
That's one of the questions I had is what drew you or continues to draw you to country music? I mean, there are a lot of people you could interview and a lot of different genres and even outside of music, but it's country music that you have been focused on for 30 years, right?
Yeah, but I've liked it since I was 4 years old.
Okay, well then there you go. You like
Growing up as a kid in BB, Arkansas, my parents had vinyl records, of course, there, and it was country. It was Don Williams, Loretta Lynn, Ronnie Millsap, Charlie Pride, a lot of Charlie Pride, Johnny Rodriguez, who recently passed away, had several. First concert I went to, I wasn't quite 5 years old, and it was at Barton Coliseum.
Awesome.
And the person that came out first to greet everyone was country comedian Jerry Clower. And he came out, did some comedy, and then he introduced each artist on the show.
Wow.
And the first one he introduced at the time it just had a big hit and he had a lot of hit records, but he had a big one called Rub It In. I saw Billy Craddock and then Johnny Rodriguez, and then the headliner that day was Dolly Parton. And that was the first concert I ever went to. But I listened to a lot of records growing up, and I watch all the country music shows on TV, Porter Wagner Show, William Brothers Show, Pop Goes the Country, hosted by Ralph Emery, that Nashville music, and of course E-Haw, that goes without saying.
Yeah.
And, and now, all these YouTube channels, you can go back and watch all that stuff again.
You watch it all?
Yeah, sure can. Right in chronological order as they aired them.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could watch Hee Haw on YouTube.
Oh,
That's good to know.
Every show.
You can watch all that
That's
stuff.
amazing.
Yeah. They make money. They get paid for YouTube by people going back and watch them.
And there's some close family friends of ours that were not related to me, but they were just like grandparents to me. And my parents, worked on Saturdays, so I'd go out there on Friday nights and we may turn the TV off and listen to the Grand Ole Opry on Friday or Saturday night on radio. And so I was just surrounded by country. Back then, it seemed like if people listened to pop radio in their house or their vehicle, that's what they listened to, or they listened to country or whatever. As time passed, a lot of people change the channel and they listen to everything, you know. I mean, they may listen to Conway Twitty right alongside Madonna, but not so much back then.
Right.
There was some of that, but not as much. I mean, people kind of listen to their, they're around listening to their genre, yeah. So I was surrounded by a lot of country music, and then one of my grandmas, she always listened to country, and then the other one, she listened to gospel, and she had the records of like Chuck Wagon Gang and the Blackwood Brothers, and all that, and I was influenced by that. I didn't realize it at the time, but later on, I realized that influenced me.
Yeah, major.
That's awesome.
So when did you fall in love with bluegrass?
Watching the Beverly Hillbillies and seeing Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs as a little boy in the theme song, Ballad of Jet Clampett. Yeah. And, what really happened, what led to me, write more about bluegrass was the movie Old Brother Warthow came out, and it wasn't, strictly bluegrass, but it did a lot for bluegrass.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
And then a lot of those artists started touring more, and then they had the big Down from the Mountain tour, and it came to Little Rock, and I covered that, and I wrote a review for that, and I started interviewing a lot of these bluegrass artists, and in 2000, and I think 2001 and 2, I was among the considerations, but I didn't make the finalist for Print Media Person of the Year at the International Bluegrass Music Association. But in 2003, I was a final nominee. Went to Louisville, Kentucky, and the show was hosted by Allison Krauss and Dan Tominski, who at the time was in her group, Union Station. And then I wasn't a finalist in 2004, and man, I was disappointed. It was so much fun the year before. And then I was a finalist again in 2005, and that's where I realized, and you're talking about these artists here, rise and fall, I appreciated it so much more the second time.
Yeah.
And the award show was in Nashville at the Ryman Auditorium that year, and it was hosted by Allison Krauss and Ricky Skaggs, and it was just great, I didn't win either time,
Either way,
that's fine.
experience.
Oh, yeah, the honors being nominated.
Your name was called out.
And I then I started writing. You mentioned Bluegrass Now magazine, and I started writing for them, which they have since folded. It might have been my writing why they folded, I don't know, but now Mr. Bledsoe, who ran that, his health got bad, and he recently passed away. But I did write for that magazine. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it was the early 2000s, late 90s when you fell in love with bluegrass and started writing.
I always liked it.
Yeah,
I always liked it, but I started writing about when I started my column, Music Spotlight, and then later was Changing Music Beat, like you mentioned.
Yeah,
when they had different ownership of newspapers.
Yeah.
Country was what I wrote about, but I wasn't blind to the stuff that influenced country. Like I would write about bluegrass. I did a feature one time on Jewel. I've done a couple features on Ray Charles. So I wasn't blind to that stuff that kind of blended or crossed over from time to time.
Yeah.
Country was always the root of what I did. But I mean, as time passed, I covered concerts, Michael Bolton, Bob Seger, Paul McCartney.
What do you think about the state of country music today? The way it is?
Mainstream country music catches a lot of criticism, but, when I was a kid, outlaws come on, oh, that's not country. Well, they had their place, and every generation goes through this. I sense a little bit of a comeback of traditional country music right now.
I do too.
It's coming back.
I do too.
Everything goes through peaks and valleys, know.
Yeah.
It goes like rock and roll, then it goes EDM, and then it goes blues, and then it goes back to traditional country. Now, everybody's at the swing, and then it just seems like it just kind of does this thing where it goes, it's country, but it has these influences, and those influences stick around for a little while, then they disappear for a little while.
There's a lot of artists now that are selling out arenas and having a lot of success that are not really played very much on mainstream radio. At one time,
that's the truth.
At one time, you had to have top 40 hits to be popular. That's not the case now.
I personally know
that's not the case now.
People that could sell out major places.
Oh, you're seeing it. You're seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, completely.
So what do you attribute that to?
Well, streaming, you don't have to listen to the radio, the mainstream radio, FM radio, satellite radio is pretty big too. And the satellite radio is not only helping those artists, it has been great for the artists from the past. These artists from the 60s and 70s, people can listen to them on the radio on a regular basis now like they used to. And those artists are drawing pretty good crowds again.
Yeah, that's
Playing casinos and places. Yeah.
It's true.
That's really cool.
Here's how so hunting among youth became really duck hunting and different things in Arkansas made a huge jump in the last like 10 years. Massive jump. There was a lot more youth going. There was some artists that made it popular again. And so I've always considered finding new music kind of like hunting. You know?
Yeah.
Who's got the biggest kill, right?
It's out there. You may have to seek it.
You got to see, but that's part of the reason I think it's grown so much because people are looking and listening for the next new thing, and they have the opportunities in a way more vast pool of people that are in the same things they're in. You're on a group that has 65,000 people on it, or you're in a group that has 12,000 people on it, or you're in this column over here, you're in that column over there, and everybody's talking about different artists and different things. And so you're able to pick from more places and bring them to people that never heard it before. You have the availability is there, and then the ability to reach in and find and grab and hunt it out and seek it out. You know, that ability hasn't always been there. I mean, 2010, you had Facebook and you didn't have a lot to dig into to find people.
Yeah, I mean,
you had newspapers, you could see shows. Do you hear about shows that are coming up? I think the available now, and you have AI and you have all this other stuff that you can use to find out, okay, what are the top 25 country artists in Alabama that are independent? And you can put that in and it'll tell you every one of their names, and it'll tell you their album and their latest release, which we didn't have those abilities. So I think that's helping it grow.
Oh, sure.
You know, it's helping
you can immediately go and listen to that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think any of us, it was hard to imagine a world not that long ago where you could find music outside of turning on your radio or purchasing a CD or purchasing an album or whatever it is. It was like, that was it. Either somebody was curating it for you, or if you were going out to get it, you were literally purchasing it. You were buying it.
I'm old enough to remember the 8-track. So.
Yeah.
They didn't last too long.
I was on the way out, I was 78, 79. My dad still had an 8-track player in his car,
Yeah.
So I've seen that whole transition.
Vinyl records sure came back.
Vinyl records is extremely strong.
Did you see that coming? Did you think vinyl records would come back?
I always liked them, but no, I don't know that I could. But boy, they had.
It's just the sound quality. It's that lo-fi thing, it's great. I think CDs won't ever make a comeback like that. Tapes maybe have a chance to have some kind of small, but there's so many of those things. It's hard to find players that still work.
You got to have an old boom box.
You got to have one.
And vinyl is
and nobody's
beautiful.
making tape
Vinyl
players.
is aesthetically pleasing. It's beautiful. It's like an album is beautiful. An album cover is beautiful. And a cassette is not pretty. And a cassette was kind of ugly.
Easier. The technology it has survived, so you can buy old record players that still work.
Mm-hmm.
You're not buying old tape players that still work.
No, we have a few, and they don't really work.
No, they don't. That's the deal. You can CD players all got thrown in the trash because it was massively built. There's still some around. You can still find one in the yard.
They don't even put them in new vehicles now.
No, they're not even in new vehicles now. There's no way for that to come. So I think vinyl is the last hurrah of old platform, music that's going to be able to sustain.
Yeah, I love it.
Nothing else. Tape won't sustain. 8-tracks will never make a comeback. We've proven that.
Yes, that's not going to happen.
So tapes are not going to do it. So I think vinyl is it. You got your digital and you got your vinyl, and I think that is the here to stay. Because if you really love somebody, you want to have that because there is a possibility there's always a possibility digital can go down.
Right.
And so you want to make sure that you have something that just runs off power. You don't have to have intelligence to make it work,
I grew up on the 45s.
Yeah.
Play the hit record and then flip that thing over and see what's on the other side.
Oh, yeah. That was
Disc jockeys used to do that too. Of course, disc jockeys don't do that now. You got to play whatever the record label tells you is a single you got to play.
Yeah, I was telling my kid the other day.
Disc jockeys had whoever was that disc jockey, that was their show for that 4 hours or whatever. They play what they wanted to.
Yeah, they play if they want to. They were under some kind of parameters, but they go outside the lines.
Oh, yeah.
because they were good and they had a good crowd, so they couldn't get rid of them.
Yeah.
I was telling my kid the other day, I was like, look, we're sitting in Waffle House. I'm like, over there used to sit a machine that carried 45s, and those 45s, you would go up and you'd push A3 or C17, and mechanically would pull it down and put it on, and then it would start turning that record, and that's how you played music.
You could pick the A side or B side.
That's right.
You had the big hit, but you also had the obscure.
That's right. You could.
Yeah.
And I was like, so that was it. And now you go to everything's like, I don't whatever the tune machine that they have in all these places now, where you can literally pick whatever song from anywhere, from anybody, because they're just paying that artist to play it, so it's going to be available, which is cool too, because you can find random stuff. So your overview is, hey, every generation goes through these ups and downs of the bending of country music.
Oh, absolutely they do, And I'm not saying that from like a personal preference or anything, but
experience.
But that has happened. I mean, the 60s started getting more of a polished sound. They call it the Nashville sound. Start putting more strings. Strings replaced the fiddles,
Yeah.
Patsy Cline had a very polished sound. Patsy Cline was country.
Yeah.
Eddie Arnold and Ray Price, their sounds started drifting away from the honky-tonk a little bit and getting a little more uptown.
Well, they started introducing digital keyboards.
And
there started becoming some more of that's the first appearance of this EDM kind of sound, it's electrically, modified sound.
And then the 70s got a little stripped down, singer-songwriter stuff.
Sure
You had the outlaw movement, Willie and Waylon, and artists wanting to take more control, producing their own records and having more say.
Yeah.
Instead of the record label basically making all the decisions.
Yeah.
Now, Bobby Bear was at the forefront of that in the 60s and 70s. David Allan Coe, a lot of those type artists. Yeah. And, the 80s, early 80s, a little bit of that pop country coming in again.
Started getting real commercial.
But then it turned in the mid 80s, that's for sure. Randy Travis and George Strait and Dwight Yoakam. Country music come back, and it came back strong.
Real strong.
Vince Gill, Clint Black, Travis Tritt, Reba McEntire, Patti Loveless. Yeah. I mean some real artists. I mean, people still talk about today, and some of those artists are, now being inducted in the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah. That was my peak of understanding and love of country music, was the mid 80s. Early to mid 80s. I was 5, 6, 7, 8 years old.
I was highly influenced by that. I mean, I was just a little bit older than you, but I was highly influenced by that stuff. In that time
frame was a huge influence. I mean, I still go back to that time frame a whole lot.
The Oak Ridge Boys were my hero.
Oh, Oak Ridge Boys were the best, man. Seeing Oak Ridge Boys in concert, or Alabama, just that whole era was that was it. That's what sewed my country roots into me. Not only was I from Arkansas and we did country stuff and farm, and all the things, right? But just riding around in the backseat of a Lincoln, going across the country, listening to my grandma and my mom or whoever's in the car just belt these songs out, just loving the judge, just singing these things, and just singing these completely inappropriate lines, I'm like a 5-year-old kid in the back, but they're just great.
But it's reserved, like it's permissible.
It's permissible. You can't cuss, but you can sing his line right here.
Or like the Bellamy Brothers come on the radio. If I said you had a beautiful body, would you hold it against?
Right. Yeah. Like, why grandma's singing Baby's Got the tight blue jeans on? Why is she singing that?
Oh, yeah.
You grow up and you look back and you go, what is that?
Conway Twitty, tight fitting jeans. I'd love to lay you down.
Yeah, I mean, those songs were real. Like, I'm riding around like, I'm like, they really, well, they also let us watch shows like Smokey and the Bandit and Never Which Way But Loose. You know what I mean? With Smokey and the Bandit wasn't so bad.
And both of those definitely had influence in country.
Huge.
Yeah, Jerry Reed in one, and then of course Eddie Rabbitt had the big hit Every Which Way But Loose. That's right. Clint Eastwood.
That's right. Huge. And
country music, urban cowboy. I mean, country music is really big in that time frame.
It was huge.
70s and 80s. Oh, yeah.
We had in a Western shirt.
Those artists sold a lot of records. Ronnie Millsap sold millions of records. Alabama, those artists sold lots. Barbara Mandrell and her sisters with the TV show, they sold a lot of records.
Yeah.
Country music was cool.
It was.
Then I'm not going to say it got uncool, but, everything goes through peaks and valleys.
Well, the 90s was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
The 90s was amazing. I mean,
Yeah, and record labels that would normally have 3 or 4 artists on their label started having 10 or 12, and that worked for a while. But there's not room for everybody on radio, you know.
I've met, like, I guess we call them like snowflake type kids or whatever people, you know, or then that generation, they love 90s country. You know, love 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Kids in the 90s, you know, and in the late 90s, and they go back to that 90s.
Oh,
country,
it's referenced a lot.
Yeah.
It's referenced a lot. Yeah, 90s country. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a huge deal. I think it's good to be in the scene. I think the scene is absolutely thriving, and I think it's only going to go up from here.
Well, there's something for everybody. You know, we mentioned earlier the big umbrella, and we certainly have it here on the Arkansas scene.
You can find rocking country, you can find bluesy country, you can find pop country.
And we've got that all among these nominations.
That's right. Everybody does it here in our state.
Oh, yeah.
In our state.
And we're going to have
A bit of that.
all of that on the show, some of that.
You also find the influence from our state all over the country and all over the world. You know, and that's another thing about it. This is just the base of it, the baseline of the influence can go. You know, you got Cliff and Susan playing hotels at the top of New York. You know, you know, you got people traveling all over the world. You got Ashton going to Europe twice a year. You know, you got lots of people just spreading this Arkansas love and influence all over the world, and then just getting rewarded for it is what, you know.
Y'all got any predictions?
No, I can't. Are we allowed to make predictions?
Yeah, we're allowed to make predictions. He's asked me about my predictions. Yeah, you're not making, but I could.
I mean, I love all them people, and I truly mean that. I do all these nominees. I mean, I'm friends with the vast majority of them.
Yeah, and we're just, you know, getting to know them, you know, and if I started making predictions right now, they'd be biased just for people I've already bet. You know what I mean? Like,
that's one of our nominees, Bias. He's up for Male Vocalist of the Year.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
He's performing on the show.
Yeah. So, you know, Amanda and I are going to spend the next week or so just really learning these names, and I've created a playlist called on Spotify. It's called This is Arkansas. I'm just going to put songs from every one of these nominees on there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to share that. And we're going to be really focused on the award show for the next week. Everything.
Good. I appreciate that.
Yep.
We're going to know what they look like. Like, I picture it being like on Devil Wears Prada. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where they have to know what every person's face is. They have them all memorized, you know? Because they're not going to be singing on the red carpet.
No, so like when you see him, you'll know, oh, you're so-and-so, you've got 2 nominations.
He'll be like, who is that? Will be like nominated for Americana.
Is there any order anybody's coming in, or they just show up when they show up?
Oh, they just show up when they show up.
So we're going to have to put the names and faces. And that's a lot of names and faces, you know.
That would be like with flashcards.
I'm not going to be embarrassed to say, hey.
He's never embarrassed.
I'm not going to be embarrassed to say, hey, what's your name? I'm sorry. I'm missing you. What's your name? You know, we'll do that before the camera starts rolling or something. I don't know. But I don't know. This is our first time doing it. We're excited about it, you know. So, and I think that, you know, I want to bring just joy to the red carpet and just join in on their joy and happiness that they're sharing in their moment, and let it be about them and what they want to talk about. Hi, how you doing? What you know?
There'll be a lot of happiness when you go to that one afterwards. I'll guarantee you.
Guarantee.
Yeah, they got those trophies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be joy and happiness coming in and be super over the top, you know, carrying them trophies around, you know.
What do the trophies look like?
Yeah.
They're shaped like a diamond.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
they're
cool.
shaped like a.
Have they been the same since the beginning?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Consistent.
Yeah.
Can't change the globe, you know what I mean? Can't change the diamond.
Things happen. I don't know.
Now we're going to have an award called Arkansas Honors Arkansas, and that's a special award. That's a plaque. But all the rest of them are the diamond shaped awards.
That's really cool.
Well, is there any high points you want to hit before we get off this podcast today, or anything else you want to make sure that everybody knows out there?
Tickets are still available.
Tickets are still available.
Yeah.
Get out there and get your tickets.
Oh, yeah.
All Country Music Awards.
Yeah, there's still a lot of $100 tickets left, and those are VIP, and this show is worth $100.
Yeah.
I mean,
promise.
you're seeing how many shows in one night, basically.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
yeah,
it's really cool.
And something I often tell people is, this show is unlike any other. You're never going to go to any other show and see one of the top bluegrass artists on the same stage as one of the top mainstream country artists, and then we're going to honor someone from the past. Those particular artists those exact ones will probably never be on the same stage again.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's true.
That's really cool.
That's cool. Yeah, you're going to get an experience like you can't get anywhere else.
That's exactly right.
And you won't get close to getting this experience anywhere else. You may get some cross-genre stuff, but not not like this amount of country in one place from every kind of genre within a genre. Like that's awesome. That's exciting. So yeah, get out there, get online. Where can they get their tickets?
ArkansasMusic.org. As soon as you go there, the first thing you'll see at the top, it says ticket link. You can pick what seats you want. A lot of them have vanished, but there's still VIP tickets available on the floor.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Okay. Well, now you know where to go. There's tickets available, and Charles and everybody else would love to see us there. See you there.
Yeah.
People out there.
I plan on coming.
Yeah. You gonna be there?
I am.
You gonna be there?
Yeah.
You gonna be there for a lot of years to come.
Oh, I hope so.
Man.
No, we joke about that, and I've even said, man, I want to host a 30th one, and
Yeah.
For
Of course.
sure.
yeah, of course.
Well, congratulations on making it, this
yeah.
many years. And
Yeah, it's going well. It's going well. It's exciting, and we were already talking the other day about 26. People ask me, they said, when do you start working on the next one? The answer is the next day, because things are fresh on your mind.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot that goes on in between award shows. I mean, people think, okay, the submission starts in January, but what do you do when this show's in before January? Well, there's the Hall of Fame selection. And there's just a lot of different things that go on. Those are announced in the fall.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine the time and effort that goes into planning something like this. It's a year-round thing, I'm sure.
It's 25 hours a day.
Yeah, I guarantee you. Yeah, I know that it's not all that you do, and you have lots of help in getting this thing together every year, and you got lots of good people that are a part of it, and we're just grateful for all of you and your efforts. And
I'm glad y'all gonna come and interview folks.
we're super excited about that.
Excited.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, sure.
And yeah,
can't wait.
yeah, it's great. So I guess we have it's been a great conversation, Charles. This is if I've been real excited about this one. I've been waiting, and real super excited.
I remember when you first made an announcement who all your guests were going to be, and you said I was going to be there on May 20th, and I thought, am I free that day? But I was. Yeah, you just posted I was coming May 20th.
That sounds right.
Well, I don't, I get my wires crossed sometimes. I'm not the best at organization or communication.
Yeah.
But, my heart's in the right place. Just want to support these artists and give people a place to just be themselves, not just carry, it doesn't matter what genre on this, but we focus on country. It's, I'm a country artist. So I just want people to come on and just be relaxed. Let's have a good time. Let's just talk about, everybody needs to just to say certain things when your show is, when this is happening, when that's happening. But, a lot of times we get into stories that have nothing to do with country music, and I just want people to relax and have a good time and feel free to talk about what they want to talk about and not play any music while you're here. Let's get away from that for a minute, We don't have to feature your new release, If you want to, we will. We haven't done it yet, but we will.
Right.
But I'm, we're just open to everybody who's willing to keep it clean in here. You know what I mean? Come in here and keep it clean. Also, that's another thing. I want your 5-year-old to be able to watch the show.
Sure.
And and I don't care who you are, as long as you're willing to come in here. And like I said, keep it clean, have a good time, and be open book about, what your life is and what your situation is and where things are going and where they came from. I think that's my favorite part of the show, is finding out where people come from. Like I enjoyed hearing your story and why you love country music and watching these shows, and some of our experiences overlap, and I like that. It's it's the best part about it. It's making communication and connection with people.
This award show has definitely done that. I've had a lot of people tell me that the VIP before the show is like almost become like a family reunion, because. And then a lot of these artists did not know one another until this award show started. Now they're doing shows together, they're writing songs together, even recording together. And the award show's how they met.
That's right. I can't imagine the opportunities that it presents. That's a problem.
It's a lot of people under one roof.
Yeah. They have the same goal in life, is to be a working musician or in the industry working.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes relationships to do that. And so we're better places when everybody gathers up that does the same thing to build those relationships. I expect great things out of this opportunity. Like I just know, that this is massive opportunity for us, especially me being a new artist and having a new show that promotes the thing. And, just like, this is a massive opportunity, and it would be for anybody. Just attending the show and being in the arena and walking around, everybody in that place that's there watching the show either loves country music, everyone, or they're part of the scene somehow. They're coming to see a friend, or they're coming. So it's not just the people who've got selected; it's the majority of the people that are going to be enjoying the show.
And boy, I'm gonna tell you, when you get them categories and the nominees are, and boy, when you read off one and let everybody cheer, and you read off the next one, man, there's some people that's vocal. They're ecstatic about who they want to win.
So it does get loud. People did cheer.
Oh yeah.
Standing up, hooting and hollering, and throwing their hat around.
Yeah, babies in the air. No, not really.
Oh, baby, that's what I.
But now people are passionate about who they came to see and who they want to.
That's really encouraging.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's the way I want to be when I'm there. I want to.
And they don't really get mad or anything if it doesn't go their way, but they're passionate about it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's the way it should be.
It's a celebration of the past year.
Then we should all shake hands and walk off.
Oh, yeah.
Keep working hard, It's great. It's great. You got anything else for Mr. Charles?
I don't have anything else. We're excited. We're thankful for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Thankful that you came here
Was
today.
it close?
It is.
Getting close.
Less than 2 weeks.
That's right. Yeah, yesterday was 2 weeks. Yeah, it is. It's less than 2 weeks.
Less than 2
Yeah, lucky number 13.
13 days. Here we go.
Yeah.
Countdown has begun.
Oh yeah. I talked to Ashton today and talked to Nathan today, and the order of the program, the performers and the order of the categories, that's done. Sound check times are done, and I got to work a little bit on script. I told Ashton I'm gonna give her the names that's hard to pronounce.
Perfect.
That's the right thing to do.
I said it's called delegation.
Yeah. She said just be sure give her the phonetic spelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, give especially the pronunciation part of it. Yeah. The enunciation part of it. All right. Well, I guess that's it for today, and hopefully we can have you on some other time.
Oh yeah.
Here,
Sure.
I'll make a special program just for you to come back on and talk about how it went.
Yeah.
I want to talk.
It's gonna go good.
Yeah, of course, it's going to go good. We to be excited about the winners and stuff, and so yeah. Thanks for being here today.
Sure, thanks.
Everybody go out and support the Arkansas Country Music Awards and everything that Mr. Charles does, all your writing. And, I encourage people to go out and research you and check you out and see who you are.
Yes, she did.
I did.
Deep,
But with a bio.
deep search, man. I tell you what.
Yeah.
He's findable.
He's findable. You's findable. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
You bet.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it. Have a blessed day, and we'll see you soon.
All right.
All right, man. Thanks.